He said, "Men don't cry." And I laughed, not because it was funny, but because if I didn't laugh, the silence inside me would scream. He said men must be strong, must hold the weight of storms, must bleed quietly, and smile through the ache. But what he didn't know was that every time I smiled, something inside me died. They told us to wear armor, not hearts, to build walls, not bridges, to hide pain, not heal it. So we became kings, with crowns of loneliness, rulers of empty thrones, masters of pretending. He said men don't cry, but I've seen men drown in their own silence. I've seen them clench fists instead of reaching for help. I've seen laughter cover the sound of breaking souls. And me? I became one of them. I wore pride like perfume to hide the scent of sadness. I laughed too loud. I loved too quietly. And I lost myself between what I felt and what I was told to feel. They said tears are weakness, but no one told me that holding them in turns the heart into stone. No one warned me that silence is a sound, a slow, heavy heartbeat that reminds you you're alive, but barely breathing. He said men don't cry, but he never saw me in the dark, kneeling before God, asking, "Why does strength feel like pain?" He never saw the man who gave his all, then lost it, then smiled like nothing happened. He never saw the way laughter shakes when it's trying to cover a breaking chest. He never knew how heavy it is to pretend you're fine when your soul is whispering, "I'm tired." And yet, I kept laughing, because that's what men do, right? We laugh so no one asks questions. We laugh so the world thinks we're fine. We laugh so our mothers don't worry. We laugh so our lovers believe they chose a strong man. But my laughter wasn't joy. It was survival. I laughed when I buried my pain. I laughed when my dreams collapsed quietly. I laughed when love left me without a goodbye. And behind every smile, there was an ocean, a quiet flood that no one saw, because men don't cry. We just break differently. My tears didn't fall from my eyes. They fell from my silence. They hid in my work, in my sleepless nights, in my tired eyes that kept pretending to be strong. He said men don't cry, but I've seen warriors kneel in prayer with trembling hands. I've seen fathers stay hungry so their children could eat. I've seen sons bury their pain so their mothers wouldn't feel theirs. If that isn't crying, then maybe tears are not made of water. Maybe they're made of sacrifice. And I believed him. So I built a smile so wide no one could see the storm behind it. I carried laughter like a sword, pretending it could protect me from the truth that I was bleeding silently. I became an expert at pretending. Pretending I'm fine. Pretending I'm strong. Pretending the night doesn't whisper my name in loneliness. They call it pride, but pride is just pain wearing a suit. They call it strength, but strength is just suffering with good posture. Every time someone asked, "How are you?" I replied, "I'm good." But inside, my soul whispered, "I'm falling apart." I've seen men die with dry eyes, not because they didn't feel, but because they were told not to show it. I've seen brothers hug each other for the last time and pretend it was a casual goodbye. I've seen lovers walk away with smiles while their hearts were burning. And I've done it too. I've smiled through heartbreak, laughed through loss, stood tall while everything inside me collapsed. He said men don't cry. But he never said what we're supposed to do when the weight gets too heavy, when love leaves, when dreams die, when no one stays to listen. So we laugh. We make jokes. We talk about football, not feelings. We lift weights, not our hearts. We chase money, not healing. And when we're alone, we stare at the ceiling, wondering why it's so quiet. After the laughter fades, my laughter became my prison. Every smile was a mask. Every joke, a cry for help, disguised as humor. And when the night comes, when everyone sleeps, that's when the truth visits. That's when the memories start knocking again. The woman I lost, the father I miss, the dreams I buried, all of them sit beside me in silence. And I laugh again. Because what else can I do? He said men don't cry. But what he didn't know was that men do cry. Just not the way the world sees. We cry when we stay after being broken. We cry when we forgive without an apology. We cry when we keep giving, even when no one returns the love. We cry when we see our mothers aging. We cry when we look at our children sleeping and wonder if we're enough. We cry when we walk through memories that smell like the past. But those tears don't fall down. They fall inward. They flood the soul. They fill the lungs. They make the heart heavy, until laughter becomes the only way to breathe. He said men don't cry. But my laughter was my confession. Every smile was a tear that refused to fall. Every joke was a whisper that said, I'm hurting too. And yet, I kept laughing, because laughter is the only sound the world allows us to make when we're breaking. They said, be strong. And I became stone. They said, don't cry. And I became a desert. They said, be a man. And I forgot how to be human. I laughed louder than the pain. But inside, there was thunder. I smiled brighter than the sun. But inside, there was rain that never stopped. Every night, I met the man I hide from the world. The one who remembers every goodbye. The one who replays every, I'm fine. That was never true. The one who holds broken dreams, like fragile glass in bleeding hands. He asks me, why did you believe them? Why did you think silence is strength? And I have no answer. Just a tired smile. And eyes that ache for permission to cry. Once, I saw my reflection, and didn't recognize the man staring back. Not because he changed, but because he disappeared. Piece by piece, smile by smile, until there was nothing left but echoes of who I used to be. I became the man who comforts everyone, but has no one to talk to. The man who listens deeply, but is never asked, what about you? The man who carries others' pain, while hiding his own like a secret sin. They said, move on. So I did. But how do you move on? When the memories walk beside you? When every street corner reminds you of her voice, and every silence sounds like her absence? So I smiled again, and laughed again, because laughter is the only thing that doesn't ask for explanations. But one night, I finally broke. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly. A single tear fell, and I realized, I'm still alive. I'm still capable of feeling. And that tear, that one forbidden drop, washed away years of pretending. Men do cry, not because they're weak, but because they're human. Because they love deeply, lost silently, and endured endlessly. We cry when no one sees, when the lights are off, when even God feels like a distant whisper. We cry in the car, in the shower, in the silence between songs. And that's okay, because a tear is not a weakness. It's a prayer, a wordless confession that says, I'm trying, I'm tired, but I'm still here. He said men don't cry, but I do. Not every night, not every pain. But when I do, I don't hide it anymore. Because the moment I allowed my tears, I found my peace. Because the man who can cry is the man who can heal. And now, when they say, be strong, I smile softly and whisper, I already am. Because I cried. I sat across from her, the woman who once called me strong. She smiled gently, like she could still see the little boy behind the man the world tried to build. Her eyes asked questions that her lips never said. And for the first time, I didn't hide behind laughter. I said, Mom, I'm tired. And my voice cracked, a sound I hadn't heard from myself in years. She didn't interrupt. She didn't try to fix me. She just held my hand, the way she did when I was small. And monsters were still under the bed. Now the monsters live inside me. But she held me, like her touch could still chase them away. I confessed, I smile for everyone, but I'm breaking quietly. I listen to people's pain, but no one listens to mine. I make others laugh, but when I'm alone, I can't even breathe. She didn't say, be strong. She said, you've been strong too long. And for the first time in forever, I cried. No music, no words, just silence. And the sound of tears that had waited years to be free. Each drop carried a story. The heartbreak I never mourned. The dreams I buried alive. The pressure to man up, even when my heart begged to rest. And in that moment, crying wasn't weakness. It was resurrection. She whispered, my son, strength isn't silence. It's the courage to tell the truth about your pain. Her words hit harder than any lesson the world ever taught. Because I realized, real men don't hide their storms. They learn to dance in the rain. That night, I looked at my reflection again. Same face, same eyes, but softer now, like forgiveness had touched them. I didn't see shame anymore. I saw survival. I saw a man who carried the weight of 1,000. I'm fine. And still stood tall. The world may never understand how heavy silence can be. But I do. And maybe that's enough. Now when they say, men don't cry, I just smile. Because I did. And it saved me. Now I teach others. Not with speeches, but with my honesty. That it's okay to fall. It's okay to weep. It's okay to say, I need help. Because even warriors rest. Even kings bleed. Even men cry. And it doesn't make them less. It makes them real. So when my son grows up, and the world tells him the same lie, I'll hold him close and say, cry, my boy. Cry if you must. Because strength isn't how long you hold it in. It's how bravely you let it out. And maybe then, we'll raise a world where men don't have to die inside, just to prove they're alive. She sat beside me, quiet as moonlight. The same woman who once said, you're my strongest man. But tonight, I wasn't strong. I was breaking, piece by piece, under the weight of unspoken storms. She asked softly, what's wrong? And I almost said nothing, like I always do. But my heart whispered, if she loves you, let her see you, even shattered. So I did. For the first time, I didn't wear my smile as a mask. I didn't hide behind laughter. I just looked at her and said, I'm tired of pretending I'm fine. Her eyes filled before mine did. Maybe because she finally saw how heavy silence can be. Maybe because she realized that men who never cry are the ones who suffer the most. She didn't speak, didn't move, just reached out, held my hand, and I broke. I cried, not like a child, not like a hero fallen, but like a man who finally allowed himself to be human. Tears rolled, quiet, pure, and endless. Years of hidden pain flowed out like a river finding its sea, and she didn't wipe them. She let them fall, like every drop was sacred. She whispered, "Don't ever hide your pain from me. I want to love your scars too." Her words were healing, like sunlight on frozen ground. And in that silence, I realized, love isn't found in laughter. It's found in the moments when someone stays through your storm. I told her, "They told me men don't cry." She smiled through tears and said, "Then let's change what they taught you." And we did. In that room full of silence and truth, we built a new kind of strength, where tears were not weakness, but prayer. That night, I held her close, and for the first time, I didn't feel alone in my pain. Her heartbeat whispered, "I see you," and my tears answered, "I trust you." The next morning, my eyes were red, but my soul was lighter. I didn't hide it, because real love doesn't ask you to hide, it asks you to heal. Now when I hear, "Men don't cry," I smile gently and say, "They do, when they've finally found someone who's worth crying in front of." And that was the night my silence died, and my heart was reborn.